What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the V3 Blackbeard. Now, I did upload my video before talking about him in the GARP challenges and giving you guys the breakdown of how he was able to clear that. But now we can go ahead and talk about Blackbeard in a little bit more detail, talking about him in his positives and his negatives, what I like, what I do not like about this character, and just talk about him as he goes ahead and clears some other recently released content. So we've got a few clips here against the Arena Kawamatsu, Clash Marco, and we've got two other older-ish Colosseums that you guys will see in this video as well. But I guess let's go ahead and start things off with the positives of the character. Now, this is definitely one of the showcases where we talk about the positives and the negatives, where honestly speaking, the positives and the negatives are pretty balanced, and sometimes you may think that the negatives will outweigh the positives of this character. There's a lot about this particular unit that I don't know really what they were thinking with when they were designing this unit, because there's definitely some inherent flaws that this character has that they could have easily fixed that would have made this character a lot better than what he actually is. But I digress. Let's talk about the positives of this character, okay? So first of all, the big positive is he's another driven and powerhouse related character. Amazing combination of characters that can synergize well with other recently released Sugo Fest exclusives, such as Gecko Moria, who debuted alongside him in this batch, and I do think in every way, shape, and form is a better character compared to V3 Blackbeard. But also versus Akainu, Legend Magellan can also be counted into that as well, despite the fact he's a quick super type character. He works well with him, as well as super type Kaido as well. Basically any Kaido legend that gets released, because all of them thus far have been powerhouse characters, so they all inherently will still work with this character. So at least this character still has that going for him, is that if you don't want to run a double Blackbeard, which may not be something you want to do in some certain circumstances, you can at least hybrid him up with some other really powerful units. Another thing that I really like about Blackbeard, and honestly is one of the redeeming qualities of the character, and one of the reasons you might actually want to use him, is because of his captain effect in his Whitebeard Devil Fruit form, where anytime you enter a new stage, it cuts all enemies' HP by 10%, and it bypasses every single debuff in the game, or every single buff in the game. So he's able to hit through all their barriers, all their defensive effects, and it hits through normal attacks only. So a double Blackbeard up, you can remove 19% health, because it goes 10% and then it takes 10% of that 90% left over. So it's a 19% health cut every time you enter a new stage, and it's guaranteed to hit no matter what, and it's ridiculously powerful, especially for when we get to Kizuna clashes later on down the line. Very, very nice. And another really cool thing about Blackbeard, which I don't know if it's an inherent positive of the character, but it's just something nice and unique, is the ability to alter the effects of your specials. And what I mean by that is that when Blackbeard is your captain, anytime you activate a special that is a damage reduction, damage nullification, or a damage threshold on your side of the field, that effect is changed into a 2x attack boost to driven and powerhouse characters. So that is both a positive and a negative in ways, because yeah, it's awesome you can just generate an attack boost off of a damage reduction special. Very awesome, but also it's quite a detriment, because it means you can't use special abilities that allow you to reduce damage taken, unless if your Blackbeard is despaired first, and then you can use the special ability of your character. But as I said, it's a unique effect, and I like that they're introducing unique abilities for these types of units, but as I said, it can be definitely a huge detriment to the character not being able to reduce damage, as you'll see with this specific content here, with literally using Legend Bato to tank the death hit of Marco, because like you can't use a damage reduction special. So in certain circumstances you have to run really weird units. So it would have been nice if they released another character that just had like a resilience buff for your team. I think that would have been really welcomed, but unfortunately they didn't. So you have to run really obscure units to get through content sometimes. Another thing about Blackbeard that's actually pretty cool is his switch effect. I think his switch effect honestly is really nice, because, well, it's actually really good if he's the captain, because what happens is that when you do the switch, you're guaranteed to get a matching slot. It goes through block orbs, and you'll just get a guaranteed slot, which is great. And it removes all special bind and all despair off of that particular unit. So if you're running double Blackbeard and you get despaired, you can always remove it no matter what. So that's a really nice component of his kit, which is good. But unfortunately, the thing about it is that if you are despaired and you're already in your dual form, you can't get rid of that despair, because obviously you can't switch in your dual form. So that is a pretty big drawback to this character's switch ability. So that obviously really does suck. And then the last major thing that I identified about Blackbeard that I found to be really helpful was his barrier penetration limit break. Just having the accessibility to just go through barriers whenever you want, I think that's a really welcomed addition to the character, and honestly would have hurt him a lot if he didn't have it. So I'm really happy that ability at least has that, but that's definitely not the thing that really makes this character really nice. I mean, it's a nice addition, but, you know, there's definitely a lot of things about this unit that I would prefer to have had changed over something as small as that. But with all of that, that basically comes to the end of the positives that I've kind of located and identified with this character. But let's move on to the cons, the negatives of V3 Blackbeard. So now, first of all, his special ability. His special ability in almost every way, shape, and form is just terrible for a character that's released in 2021. So it grants you a chain boost, which is good at least. You know, it's a 1.0 chain boost, not the highest in the game. And I think if they're going to just give him a chain boost, it probably should have just been the best chain boost in the game. Just give him a 1.5 chain boost, because why not, man? It's Blackbeard, man. Just give him some crazy, absurd stuff. But at least he has a 1.0 chain boost, and he extends the duration of attack and orb boosts by 1 turn. This is pretty bad, because it's just not a useful of an effect. Honestly, it would have been cool if he extended the duration of buffs by 2 turns. So if you had double Blackbeard, you could potentially get like a 5-turn buff off of a special. That would have been ridiculously cool, and you can use it over multiple different runes. That would have been really interesting if they decided to go that route, and I think they probably should have done something along those lines. But then the other part of his special that's really bad is that he can make it so that you'll be in your dual form, the dual Blackbeard form, for up to 8 turns, which is obviously another bad component, because it means that if you are despaired in those 8-turn duration, you can't use his switch effect to remove that despair. So yeah, again, just there's a lot of components about this character that just are really poorly designed, and his special ability could have been changed in a lot of different ways. Like, they could have made it so that it got rid of block orbs, which I found to be a little bit of an issue here and there with this character. If he just had block orb removal in his special, that would have been a really nice change. It would have been cool if the attack or the orb boost was a 2-turn extension. It would have been nice if they had some type of additional utility on top of it, like potentially a bind remover or like a burn remover. I don't know, I'm not really too sure, but like some really crazy utility would have been nice. And then potentially maybe like a really unique effect where he would still be able to use his switch effect in his dual form. That would have been ridiculously cool if he had something like that, like just a switch effect of a dual unit that is not being able to be used on any other type of unit. That would have been super unique for a character such as this. And just with this really inherently bad special ability, it means that his usability as a sub, as a crewmate on your team, just is not there. He's not very useful to have on your team. If the extension of buffs was 2 turns, you could find some places where you'd want to be using this Blackbeard character, but because he doesn't have a lot of these really useful effects, his usability as a sub is basically non-existent. So unless if you're using him as a captain for content, there's almost no reason to run this character as a crewmate for your team, which really does suck. Another component of Blackbeard that I really disliked was the fact that he has such a huge health pool to play with, but he also has the increased damage taken. I would have preferred it if you had some type of ability that would, you know, just reduce the multipliers of the health, but then just remove the increased damage taken. That would have been so much more useful, because remember, when you're running Blackbeard, you cannot reduce your damage taken, because he will change that to an attack boost, so he's very offensively based, and there's just no reason why he should have the increased damage taken at all. I mean, I kind of understand it in a way, because you want to take a lot of damage, which means that your dual unit lasts for a long time, but that's honestly one of the big downfalls of the character. The fact that the dual unit lasts for so long is one of the reasons why he's not good, because his special ability doesn't really help at all. There's just a lot of components about this unit that just absolutely suck. So yeah, honestly, the fact that he has increased damage taken is a huge drawback, because obviously like burn and poison can also get infected by that, which means that they'll do more damage to you, which means that the health pool that he has is just bloated for no reason and just doesn't really need to be like that. So I would have preferred it if it was like a 1.4 or a 1.5 health boost, but then no increased damage taken. Would have been a huge addition to this character that I would have honestly preferred. And then a couple of other like minor nitpick things as well is the fact that this character doesn't really have many good support units. Now, I do know that the next treasure map batch to arrive here on Global will kind of fix that, because they have a lot of really nice driven support, and I think there are a couple of them that are going to be adding to just Blackbeard's pool of available supports. So that's a really nice addition. But outside of that, Blackbeard kind of lacks in the support department. There's really not a lot going on. The best support is definitely Lafitte, which removes Bind and Despair by 2 turns, and also Blindness by 2 turns anytime you're inflicted with it. And like outside of that, there's really not much going on, so that's a huge downside. And then also the fact that he doesn't really have access to a lot of really powerful ships that can kind of boost the classes and the colors that he kind of works with. It would have been so cool if they potentially released a brand new ship with this batch when it released on Japan. Like maybe a new version of the Thriller Bark ship or a new version of Blackbeard ship that was for Driven and Powerhouse characters. That would have been so cool and potentially give you more matching slots when you're running your team, because that's also another reason why Blackbeard kind of sucks. He has no beneficial slots as a captain for your team, which does kind of suck. But, you know, that would have been a really nice addition as well. But overall, it's just so unfortunate because Blackbeard could have been so awesome and they just missed the mark entirely with his kit design. But I really do hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions about Blackbeard down below in the comment section. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.